and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to make some dessert tonight. It's Monday night, came home from work, we had dinner. I had an exhausting day yesterday. Truth be told, I put a frozen lasagna in the oven. Yes, I admit it.
She's not perfect.
I'm not perfect. Rick's whispering to you I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be perfect. I'm far from it, in fact. But I happened to see a video earlier today that reminded me of a recipe that my mom used to make when I was growing up. Now, for any of you who are familiar with Texas sheet cake, Texas sheet cake is made in a sheet pan, and it's usually chocolate. Sometimes it has a hint of cinnamon in it. And it's a very dense cake, but it's not like a brownie, but it's similar to a brownie, but it has this lovely icing on the top of it that you put on the cake right when it comes out of the oven. Then as it cools, the frosting gets this nice crust like a petit four on it, and you cut it in squares and you serve it. Growing up out west in Arizona, you would go to a lot of different functions. Like I was in Future Homemakers of America, and I was state president the year that I was in. I was state president-elect my sophomore year, and I was state president my junior year of high school. Every one of those functions that I had to go to for that, for some odd reason, they always served Texas sheet cake for dessert. But this is a peanut butter version of that sheet cake, and it doesn't have any chocolate, but you could kind of mix and match. If you wanted to make the chocolate Texas sheet cake and put the peanut butter frosting on the top, or vice versa, you would have like a little Reese's sheet cake, and it would be absolutely amazing. But tonight we're just going to make a quick peanut butter sheet cake, and this is how we're going to do it. Now, the Texas sheet cake recipe that I have came actually from my ex-husband's grandmother, and it's fabulous cake, and someday I'll make that for you. It's very similar to a Coca-Cola cake, if you're familiar with that. But this one's going to start, we're going to make it in a pot. We're going to start the batter in a pot, and then I'm going to add all the dry ingredients and some more wet ingredients to this. 2 sticks of butter that I've cut up, 1/4 cup of peanut butter. We're going to get all that goodness in there, you know, or thereabouts. And then we're going to go for a cup of water. And then we're going to put this over medium heat. So I'm going to have Rick come over here. I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees. And what you want to do is you want to melt this and bring it to a simmer. You can just leave this because it'll take care of itself. We'll come back over here. I'm going to measure out the dry ingredients. Sorry. And you don't have to do it this way. You can actually mix all of this up in a bowl if you like. It doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do is, because we're going to just put everything in the pot. So, what I want to do is I want to get a little sifter. And we're going to measure out 2 cups each, all-purpose flour. And I always get people ask me if I use self-rising flour. The answer to that question is always no. I don't use self-rising flour. I always use, unless I tell you differently, I'm using all-purpose flour. The only other type of flour I would use would be cake flour or bread flour. And we're just going to sift this. Why are we sifting it? To get the lumps out of it. And also, if you've got bugs in your flour, you'll be able to see them if you sift it. I'm just kidding. But not really. I mean, I don't have bugs in my flour, but
it happens.
It does happen. I mean, let's be real. Okay, we'll do 2 cups of sugar. And I'm doing it on a piece of parchment paper only because it's easy. And then when we're ready to put this in the pot, I can just pick up the parchment and I can put it right in the pot. I can just lift it right on in there. And this also helps.
Lumps and ants.
Lumps and ants. But you see, there's larger chunks of sugar down in there. Not that those aren't going to dissolve, but you know, it's fine. Then we're going to use some baking powder. No, baking soda. Pardon me. I always do that. Teaspoon of baking soda. And this is like, I don't know what to call it, the secret ingredient, but it's in all Texas sheet cakes. All sheet cake like this, these dense cakes. And you will want to sift the baking powder or the baking soda. God, I did it again. I'll do that too. Baking powder, baking soda. I know what I'm using. I took out the right stuff. And a half a teaspoon of salt. And I think that you need to add the salt. I think anytime you have a sweet thing, you need to put the salt in there. Half a teaspoon isn't that much. This is going to feed a lot of people, a lot of desserts and snacks, etc. And then we're going to just set this over here. Look, I have my sheet pan already. I sprayed it with nonstick cooking spray. And that's all you need to do. Make sure it's clean before you do that. Mine is clean. It may not look clean, but it is. And here I have a half a cup of buttermilk and 2 eggs that I cracked in there. And then we're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla, or thereabouts. You can't really have too much vanilla, can you? I mean, really. And let me grab a fork, sweetheart. We're just going to beat these together. And it's all just going to sit there and be happy for a minute. Now we're going to come back over here to our saucepan. Our butter is melting. And our peanut butter is going to melt in there. Oh, it smells good. Micah,
what?
Can you help me with that problem?
What?
That one up there. We got a cat on top of the refrigerator who's fixing to make an aerial attack. So she has to go. She's nosy. So this is 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of water, and 1/4 of a cup of peanut butter. And you're going to want to just melt these together until that peanut butter is all incorporated in there and it kind of is a homogeneous combination in there. You can't, when you can't see a definite distinction between the butter and the peanut butter, and you kind of still can right now, just keep stirring. It smells so good. And this is definitely for peanut butter lovers. And for those of you out there, like I said, if you like the chocolate and the peanut butter together, someday soon I'll go ahead and do my chocolate, either my Coca-Cola cake or my Texas sheet cake that is chocolate. And you can mix and match because they're very similar.
That'd probably make a good popcorn topping.
A good popcorn topping? Yeah, I bet it would. Ooh, drizzled on top of popcorn without the water, just the peanut butter and the butter. That would probably be good, honey. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat, and I'm going to pick up my parchment paper. Oh. We didn't leave that much.
You needed 3 hands.
I needed 3 hands, yeah. Just put it in here. I find that it's just easier to, you can sift all the ingredients into a bowl and then pour the hot thing into the bowl, but why bother? Why make extra dirty dishes if you don't have to have extra dirty dishes? Mix this until it is smooth and you don't see any lumps. It is going to be thick and about the consistency of almost done fudge, but it's cake batter. Okay, now I'm going to just move this over to this burner, and then I'm going to grab the wet ingredients, and I'm still going to come over here and mix them together. So now you'll remember that what we have here is a half a cup of buttermilk, 2 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And just mix these together well. You can whisk them if you like, it doesn't matter. I just happen to have the spatula. It's all going to be fine. I find that so many people, not that it's a bad thing. I know a lot of people stay out of the kitchen because they they just can't get past, they want to do everything perfectly. Well, you know what? Cooking isn't really a perfect thing. It is just, it's something that you do and you move on. I mean, if you mess something up, most likely it can be fixed.
A good number of recipes are happy accidents.
That's absolutely right. All right, now I'm going to have Rick come back over here, and I'm going to pour this into the pan. And it has been sprayed. Now this is an 11 by 15, I think, or 12 by 15 sheet pan. It's a standard, what they call a half restaurant sheet pan, okay? And this is when you can really tell how crooked your countertop is. Or your oven for that matter, okay? This is going into a 350 degree preheated oven for 15 to 20 minutes until it springs back, okay? So it's gonna go take a little nap. In the meantime, we're going to get the frosting ready. So, I'm gonna go reset everything and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna give you a peek. We've got about 8 minutes left on the cake, so we're gonna get started on our frosting. And in the pot we have a stick of butter and 1/4 cup of creamy peanut butter. And the cake batter also has creamy peanut butter in it. I don't know if I said that, but... And they're also going to have 1/3 cup plus 1 tablespoon of buttermilk. And this just, you know, if you don't keep buttermilk on hand, just make just make about 1 cup of buttermilk, and then you'll have enough for the recipe for the frosting and the cake. And we're going to use a 16-ounce package. Oops. Which we don't need right this moment, so I'm going to hold off. But you need a 16-ounce package of powdered sugar. You also need a teaspoon of vanilla. I don't have a 1-pound box of powdered sugar. I mean, that's an easy thing to remember, a 1-pound box of powdered sugar. But you need 2.5 cups, basically, of powdered sugar. So we're going to come over here, and I'm going to turn the heat on medium-high, and we're just going to get this butter melting, and then we'll incorporate everything together. And when this is ready to receive the powdered sugar, we'll be back and I'll show you how that's done. Okay. Thank you. Our butter and peanut butter and vanilla mixture has come to a little simmer, and now we're just going to toss in that powdered sugar. No need to sift the powdered sugar. It's all going to kind of come out in the wash, really. You're going to just... If you've got some lumps, all you have to do is get your whisk, and then that's going to help you get those out. You can sift this if you like. I don't think I've ever sifted the powdered sugar. I usually just, if I have a box of it, I usually just pour it right in. Just till it's nice and smooth and does a ribbon like that when you pull up the spoon. That's exactly how you want it. Beautiful. It looks like the early stages of fudge. Now turn off your heat, and I'm going to go in the oven here and I'm going to check the cake because it's got 1 minute and 28 seconds on the timer, and I think it's probably ready to come out. So if it springs back, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. That's beautiful. Okay, we're going to let this cool for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to put this frosting on it. When that's time to happen, we'll bring you back. Our cake has cooled for just a little while. Now you're going to want to spread this. Now, I'm going to get my offset spatula out. It's important to do this while the cake is still warm because the cake will remain moist and it will also help it. Some of this frosting is going to actually absorb into the cake. And you can eat this a little bit warm, but you're going to want to let this cool for at least a half an hour before you really dig into it because it's going to be difficult for you to slice it. Don't whine. I hear you, honey. He always likes to eat things when they're too hot, and it's not good for your belly to eat things when they're hot like this either. Let me turn this around because it's a little bit easier for me to maneuver the spatula. And if you don't have one of these offset spatulas in your utensil drawer, I highly recommend it, especially if you do a lot of baking and frosting and things, because these are invaluable. And you can do a lot more than frost cakes with it.
Jimmy doors with it.
I don't know if it's long enough, but you mean like car doors?
No.
Bedroom doors? Teenage daughter's doors? Well, there's only one way to prevent your teenage daughter from locking you out of her bedroom.
Take the door off.
Take the door off. When I was in high school, and this is no joke, when I was in high school, I had a friend, his name was Jim, and Jim McDonald, in fact. And he had invited several of us over to his house. We used to go to his house, or someone. There was another boy. There were a bunch of us that would rotate houses, and we would have what we called gore fests, and we would go every Friday night and watch horror movies until the wee hours when we were in high school. And one day, it was his week to have the gore fest at his house, and his parents let him. But I had asked to use the restroom, and walking down the hallway, I happened to notice he had no door on his bedroom. And I asked him why, and his father happened to hear me ask, and he said, because he's being punished. And his father figured that the worst punishment he could ever give a teenage boy was to remove the door from his bedroom. And you know, now that I'm a parent, I totally understand it. Is that good, honey?
Keeps running down the side.
Keeps running down the side. There's a paper towel there to catch it. Okay.
Then they just go away.
Well, I'm going to bring you back in a little while when we get ready to cut into this, and I will serve you a piece of this peanut butter sheet cake. We'll be back. Okay, we're ready to slice it. Now, if you're going to do this like a regular Texas sheet cake, you can cut it in half, and then you can cut each half in half, and then you can cut them into thirds. Now, this is going to be kind of rich, so I may cut this in 4 pieces. So, if I cut that approximately in half, it may not be perfect, but you know. And if you were going to serve this like at a party or a gathering, you could cut these into little squares and it would be fine. In fact, I may actually cut these smaller because it is going to be kind of rich. So you can cut them like brownies, however you like. Okay. Now, it's the icing has cracked a little like this simply because it's still a little bit warm, but I wanted to serve it and get the pictures taken so I could get it up tomorrow for you and you could see how delicious this looks, and maybe you want to make it for yourself. So I'm just going to grab a plate. And let's see here.
Very nice.
There you have it, just like so. See? Absolutely beautiful. And then you could even, if you wanted to have more than one piece, you could do that. Very pretty. Okay. Peanut butter sheet cake. I'm going to move this out of the way for just a sec, so that we can set up this shot. Just like that. And there you have it. Delicious peanut butter sheet cake, Texas style. Now, I hope you try it. I hope you love it. Until next time, I'll see ya.